$89. Marked down from $299. And before you decided anything, before you even wanted the thing, your brain had already done the math. $210 saved just for showing up. Here's the problem. The $299 never existed. Nobody stocked a shelf at that price and watched America pay it. That number was manufactured, carefully, legally, and specifically for you, to exploit a glitch in human judgment that two psychologists documented in 1974, and that retailers have been quietly monetizing ever since. And right now, in the middle of the biggest sale week of the summer, that glitch is being triggered a few 100 million times a day. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how a fake number gets planted in your head, why your brain treats a discount like income, and the single question that shuts the whole machine down. Not a budgeting trick, a question. 6 words, but first, you need to see where that $299 actually comes from. Because it isn't a price, it's a script. In 1974, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky ran an experiment that should have ended the crossed-out price tag forever. They spun a rigged wheel of fortune in front of people. The wheel only ever landed on 10 or 65. Then they asked a question that had nothing to do with the wheel. What percentage of African nations are in the United Nations? People who saw the wheel land on 10 guessed around 25%. People who saw 65 guessed 45. A random number from a carnival wheel, a number everyone knew was meaningless, moved their answers by 20 points. They called it anchoring. Whatever number enters your head first becomes the reference point for every number that comes after it. You don't get to opt out. Knowing about it doesn't stop it. It works on judges sentencing criminals, on doctors reading charts, on the people who discovered it. Now look at that price tag again. $299 crossed out, $89 in red. The crossed out number is the wheel. Here's how it gets made. A manufacturer publishes a suggested retail price, a number chosen for negotiating room, not for selling. Some products carry a list price that fewer than 1 in 10 units ever sells at. Others get listed at the high number for a single quiet week, just long enough to make the was price technically defensible, then drop to the price they were always meant to sell at. The regular price? Wearing a costume. Price tracking tools have made this visible, and the pattern shows up constantly. Items that sit at the sale price for most of the year. The discount isn't the event. The high number is the event. A stage prop built months in advance so that today, this week, your brain could feel the distance between $299 and $89 and read that distance as profit. 21 decimal points of psychology, $0 of value. And that's only half the machine. The anchor tells you what to think. The second half tells you when to stop thinking. An economist named Richard Thaler once asked people to imagine lying on a beach, craving a cold beer. A friend offers to grab one from a fancy resort nearby. How much are you willing to pay? Then he asks the same question, except the beer comes from a rundown little grocery store. Same beer, same beach, same thirst. People would pay nearly double when it came from the resort. Thaler's point was uncomfortable. You're never just buying the thing, you're buying the deal. He called it transaction utility, the pleasure of the transaction itself, completely separate from the pleasure of what you actually get. Paying less than the reference price feels like winning. Paying more feels like being robbed, even when the product in your hand is identical. That's why the crossed-out price works. It doesn't lower the cost of the item. It raises the flavor of the purchase. Your brain logs the $210 gap as a win. Dopamine, the same reward chemistry as a small gambling payout, and a win is something you'll pay for. Which brings me to the part of this I'd rather not tell you. 2 weeks after my daughter Miriam was born last November, I was doing the 3 a.m. feeding shift, phone in one hand, bottle in the other, white noise machine humming next to us like a tiny engine. An ad slid past, a baby monitor. $499, crossed out, $349. And a countdown timer. Sale ends in 4 hours. I remember tilting the phone so the light wouldn't wake her, doing the math with one thumb. $150 saved. For Miriam. I bought it before the bottle was empty, and I felt sharp, the one decisive thing I'd done all week. A month later, I ran that monitor through a price tracker. It had sold at $349 or less for most of the previous 8 months. The $499 lasted 11 days in September. I didn't lose $150 that night. I lost the version of me that thought he was good at this. And notice what the timer did. Anchoring plants the fake win. The countdown makes sure you never check it. Urgency is the anesthetic. When your brain perceives a closing window, it shifts from slow evaluation to fast reaction. Grab first, reason later. That reflex kept your ancestors alive. Now it's a design pattern. Some of those timers, when they hit zero, simply reset for the next visitor. The window was never closing. The window is a screensaver. Stack the two together and you get the real number. By some estimates, American households spend over $1,000 a year, around $1,400 for many families, on things they wouldn't have bought at all without the word sale attached. Not overpaying for things they needed, buying things the anchor invented a need for. So no, you're not bad with money. You're running a brain that was calibrated for scarcity, inside an economy that manufactures fake scarcity on a schedule. Every July, every November, every final hours. But here's the question this whole video has been walking toward. If the anchor works even on the psychologists who discovered it, what's left? How do the people who build these systems shop for themselves? They do one thing differently, and it's almost insultingly simple. They bring their own anchor. Remember, anchoring can't be resisted, but it can be replaced. Whatever number gets in first wins. So the entire game comes down to which number is standing in your head when the price tag shows up. If the tag gets there first, the retailer owns your reference point. If your number gets there first, they never had a chance. Which is the 6-word question I promised you. What would I pay without it? Cover the crossed out number with your thumb, literally on the screen, cover it. Kill the timer in your head. Now there's just an object and one price. $89. Would you have wanted this thing at $89 if you'd found it on a shelf with a plain white tag? If yes, buy it. Genuinely, that's a good purchase. If your answer is, well, but it used to be, there is no used to be. There is only the number leaving your account. Because that's the accounting your brain refuses to do on its own. A discount is not income. Nobody has ever gotten richer by the amount they saved on something they didn't need. The $210 you made on that deal will never appear anywhere. Not in your account, not in your net worth, nowhere except the receipt's imagination. The $89 is completely real, and it only moves in one direction. This is the line between the two kinds of people who walk into a sale. One asks, how much am I saving? That's the earner's question, and it can only be answered with the retailer's fake number. The other asks, what is this worth to me? And that question doesn't even have a slot for the crossed out price. Owners price the item. Everyone else lets the tag do it. So this weekend, when the banners are everywhere, run the experiment on yourself. Thumb over the anchor. One price, one question, 6 words. You'll feel the machine grinding against you in real time. That little ache of, but the deal ends tonight. That ache is the product. That's the thing they actually built. Buy whatever survives the question. Almost nothing will. Before you go, There's a detail I've been sitting on this whole video, and it's the uncomfortable one. Everything I just showed you, at least, was the same lie for everyone. Same fake $299, same fake timer, whether you're a nurse in Ohio or a lawyer in Manhattan. But there's a newer version of this machine where the price on your screen was computed for you. From your zip code, your device, what time of night you shop, how tired your scrolling looks. Two people, same product, same minute, two different prices. And neither of them will ever know. That system already touches things you bought this month. The anchor was the warm-up. The next step is that your own phone helps set the trap. I broke down exactly how that works in Your Brain is Being Hacked. Watch it before your next purchase, because once you see which app does this most aggressively, you won't look at your home screen the same way again.